Mbulelo, the black industrialist, are the others Laksa and castor oil. When I see those things, I become nauseous and traumatized. I've never gone through the castor oil thing, and I guess maybe it was, although I can't even stand that Brooklaks, because how they got us, it looked like chocolate. Well, it is chocolate. But it just is not chocolate. So for a while, I hated chocolate because of that. Because haikibona chocolate fella, it would just do that. So if there's one area where I differ with doctors, it is when it comes to goberekisa mala. I don't know. I'm also on the side of no, guys. Your gut should clean itself. I'm one of those, and I guess we differ on that. Allow it to eventually. Your body is designed to clean itself. It's okay, so you can disagree.
No, nyoko ya bolayama. Because I'm trying to think, what did we used to use before the laxatives, before these things? You know what I mean?
I mean, if you drink enough water, it should be enough to help the system clean itself. If you eat your greens, it's your beans.
I mean, it works for other people.
It should be enough to help your system.
You say it helps you live longer.
Akishoka live longer, but
it helps you be stronger.
Akishoka live longer, but I'm personally, and this is not even medical advice or anything. Personally, I don't believe in.
My dad drinks castor oil like it's water. Like it's almost every month. As soon as he feels like he's sweating.
Yeah, no, there are people who do that.
As soon as he feels something in his tongue or something.
Yeah.
Straight, that 1 liter one. Wakes up early in the morning before anyone. No, I respect that guy.
Missed something that is in people take also. Yeah. Also, it's like a new thing where people, I'm not sure if it's new, but I know that a lot of people use it. Also, missed Alba. There we go. Like in English. Can we start there?
To flush the stomach.
Okay, yeah, that sounds a little bit better. To flush out your stomach, to flush out the toxins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes we make it dirtier quicker than it can clean itself. Maybe that's where the invention came
from. That's the thing. Allow the system to deal with yeah. Okay, it's very well. Yeah, I know.
Are you gonna wait for that thing to cure itself?
Yes, you want detox. Yeah, that's it. You detox, cleanse. Yeah, those are the right words for Kuberikis. Because I'm thinking we are just here saying Kuberikis Amal, and somebody's like, what are they talking about?
Okay.
Because not everybody understands what we are saying. Nyongo. Nyongo.
There's a word in English for that. For
nyongo.
Yeah.
What is it?
There is. I'll find it now. There is.
It's gall. It's gall.
Huh? No. It gave me a Zulu translation. You know?
Is it like your mother?
Yes, it says your mother. I'm like, hey, leave my mother out of this. Yo, this Jazzy, Baba, I miss him. I miss Jazzy.
You want Jazzy to tell us about him and his many children?
Yeah, he wants to tell us about the pros of spade.
I think maybe we need to have that conversation at some point to see if vele.
Especially the Zulu tribe.
Because also I know men, there's that whole thing, if you do that regularly, it helps with your
longevity,
with your performance.
100%. Very important.
You don't have to wear skippers at ANC or sa Kaiser Chiefs. Your service delivery will be on point. Will be on point.
100%.
Yeah, that's
it'd be like Sundowns 8 times in a row.
Yeah, ne. Oh, and then Bunsi are gona le go kapa. Oh my goodness, I've never actually even done that.
Yeah, that's the opposite when you do it with your mouth.
Yeah, o kheba ka godimo.
O nwa tee ya pakete.
Guys.
Le vinegar, some do it with vinegar. They say it's quick.
That's why, thankfully, my parents, the only traumatic thing that they put us through was Brooklaks.
I hated chocolate after taking
and I at some point when my kids were young, I did that. That whole because that's how you are raised again.
Yes.
Or once your gas smells bad,
Mala a fail.
And I'm like, nah, man. And I remember I traumatized my son, Shem. And then after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore.
Like if it is,
It's okay.
nonsense.
And that was the last time I did it, because you could see the poor boy was really traumatized by what was happening.
I
to
haven't
his
forgot
system.
the first time they forced me to drink castor oil at home. That's how traumatic it was.
Yeah, thank God I've never drank that. 14, make that 15 minutes to 5. This is Power Up on Power 98.7. Now we are talking Liesl Engelbrecht, a nutrition lead of the Hold My Hand Accelerator incubated by DGMT, joins us on the line as we talk maternal support grant. More than a decade since it was first proposed, the maternal support grant, the MSG policy, remains in limbo. In South Africa, 29% of children under 5 are stunted and 2.5 million live in nutritionally insecure households. Now, this comes as civil society groups have renewed calls for the government to fast-track the process to get monetary support to pregnant women. The current proposal suggests that the maternal grant be an extension of the existing child support grant. Liesl Engelbrecht, nutrition lead of the Hold My Hand Accelerator incubated by DGMT, joins us now to unpack what is the MSG and why it is important. Liesl, good morning.
Good morning, Kwena, and to your listeners.
Thank you so much for making time to speak to us. Let's start right there. What is MSG, Maternal Support Grant, and why is it important?
So, and to explain it in basic and simple terms, the maternal support grant, as you mentioned, is basically a backward extension of the child support grant. So it means that starting an early pregnancy, women will receive social support to really help them access critical things during pregnancy, like food, access to healthcare services, etc. Because we know that unemployment rates are high in South Africa, pregnant women are even more vulnerable to unemployment, and this is a very vulnerable time in a woman's life and also in a child's life. And providing a maternal support grant really gives her child, her unborn child, the best chances of a good future, of good health, of good further economic opportunities further down the line. And it also supports the women to have fewer complications during birth and to also have a healthier pregnancy. So the maternal support grant is really about social justice. It's about providing mothers and children with the best chance for the future.
Mm. But why has the policy been in the making for over a decade? What is the delay?
Yeah, it's been very frustrating and it's been a very slow process. And, all sorts of reasons are given. There's reason of fiscal constraints and competing other grants being proposed. But we really believe that there's enough scientific and economic evidence that the maternal support grant is really a smart economic choice. So what we need now is coordination and political will. We need champions in the different departments, so not only Department of Social Development, but also departments, the Department of Health, Treasury, SASSA, Department of Home Affairs, everybody to really, support this maternal support grant, because we know from the studies that a maternal support grant, which will cost about only 0.1% of total government spending, so that's about 3 billion rand, can save approximately 14 billion rand just in healthcare costs alone. So that's not even thinking about the opportunity cost, of a child being born unhealthy. So it's really a smart economic choice. So just to go back to your question about the delays, it's been very frustrating. It's been a long process, but we formed a coalition now also to help just sort of garner more support and more awareness of the urgent need for this grant.
Critics, though, Liesl, would say that doesn't this create dependency or even encourage pregnancy?
Yeah, that's a very unfortunate but also common myth, but there's really no evidence to support that. because research shows that the child support grant does not incentivize pregnancy. In fact, access to the grant is associated with fewer teenage pregnancies, increased school retention, and better health behaviors. So I know, some people might have a story of, seeing, one person maybe using the grant not for things that it's intended to be used by. But for example, we did a study with Great the Co-Care study just after COVID, and what we found with the maternal support grant is also that women mostly spend it on things like food, electricity, transport, etc. So it is a common myth. There's really no evidence to support that.
Is this affordable, Liesl, given the current fiscal situation? In terms of the budget, I mean, we've just seen budget 3.0 issues around those things. Is this affordable from your vantage point?
Well, yes, like I said before, I think this is really a smart economic choice. Like if you just look at the spending, I said it will cost between it's between 2 billion and 3 billion a year, but it really stands to save us in healthcare costs alone almost 14 billion rand just by reducing low birth weight complications. Because if moms don't have the right nutrition during pregnancy, or they don't go to the antenatal visits as they should be going, oftentimes complications are formed, things are not picked up. So by the time they go into hospital to deliver, there's often complications with the birth. Babies are born low birth weight. Those babies need extra care. So just from those costs alone, if you provide mom with the financial support to actually be able to buy more nutritious food, get to the clinics, etc., that already improves the health outcomes of the mom and the baby, which means a reduced cost to the healthcare system, which in total already saves us 14 billion rand. And also, if you think about stunting, so about 29% of our children in South Africa is stunted. So stunting is a form of chronic malnutrition. And that chronic malnutrition starts in the womb already, because that baby's brain is growing, its body is growing, and everything is growing. So if it doesn't have the right nutrition to the mom, that baby can't grow properly. So then that baby has a higher likelihood of being stunted as a young child and as an adult. And that cost really is also very high to the economy, because if you think about it, if a baby's brain doesn't grow and develop well, that child is also less likely to perform well at school, to stay in school, and to have economic opportunities later in life. So those costs are very difficult to actually calculate, but we know it's, another couple of billion that can be saved just in the benefits it will render in future.
One school of thought says, why don't you just expand to food parcels or nutrition education instead?
Yeah. Kwena, women have multiple needs. They don't only need food. They need money for transport to the clinic. They need money for electricity, and also education. Education doesn't, feed you. It doesn't, give you food. So, can't only give one or the other. And we know from various studies across the world, and also especially in low and middle income countries, that economic support for women while pregnant really has great benefits. It improves health-seeking behavior. It reduces low birth weight. It reduces maternal stress. And food parcels alone or education alone won't bring you that. You really need a whole holistic package of support for women.
The other aspect of it, Liesl, would be the timing, right? But also the question of, isn't the child support grant already doing this? Is this not a duplication?
Yeah, well, the child support grant is there to try and support the child. And as we said before, we know that the child support fund actually improves health outcomes of children, school outcomes of children, etc. But I don't know that a lot of people know that almost 50% of children that are eligible for the child support grant don't get it within the first year of life because there are so many, complications along the way, and some delay in terms of getting baby certified, IDs of mom not being in place, etc. So that's a big delay. So that means in that first year where the baby is really at its most vulnerable, then that baby doesn't get any support. So this maternal support grant is really to start early with the mom to make sure that baby has the best chance of being born well, and also then to be extended slightly into pregnancy until when the child support grant actually kicks in. So it really fills that critical gap so that that baby doesn't go a year without any support.
Just finally, then, what would you want government to do at the moment?
Yeah, thanks, Kwena. I think we really want coordinated effort. We want some, champions in the different departments, as I said. We want presidency and treasury really to set an example and to also champion this as part of the national plan to accelerate action for children. We want clear timelines in finalizing and approving this MSG policy. And we really want them to engage transparently with civil society and with other departments if they have any outstanding concerns. So so we're calling for champions and a timeline, and just for this to be pushed over the line as soon as possible.
Lisa Langenbracht, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for making time to speak to us. I appreciate your time.